Good afternoon or good morning. I think we didn't have lunch yet. I promise I'll be brief, and I'm going to bring you a little bit about this topic of how we have used the remittance in the API markets to help companies in this complex exchange world. Well, briefly talking about myself, I am Thais. I am in the product team for over 3 years at the Remessa Online, working with API products, processing, and here you have my LinkedIn QR code. If you want to add me to talk about this topic, it's going to be a pleasure. So, before we begin, let's bring a little bit about who is Hermes Online. What is Hermes Online? It was born in 2016 with the platform for international transfer directed for individuals. The goal here is to put these people in a more globalized world through international transfer, money transfer. And then we brought to this universe of financial service the small and medium-sized companies. So then we started having people and businesses and their businesses inside this exchange universe. And when we talk about this journey, the Remessa online journey since 2016, we now have over 400,000 customers served, be them individual or legal entities. Now, currently, we have an NPS which is higher than the average of the category. So today, we serve these 400,000 customers well, and it's not easy. But everything we've gone through in Remessa Online, we count of over 40 billion reals in transactions. So this is a huge amount of money, a huge amount of responsibility. So just last year, we're talking about over 1 million operations. So 1 million cases and dreams that we have helped to realize. So Remessa, the company, knows that exchange is not the final goal of the customer. It's the means for the customer to being able to fulfill their goals. So when we talk about these dreams and these things, this is what Remessa Online is about, because these are people that have conquered their assets throughout Brazil through the acquisitions of real estate. And now we have workers that render service abroad and transfer this money. So it's very good that when we look at this scenario, we see how many dreams we have helped to fulfill. So, and doing this very well, Remessa then started have other dreams. So now we went to other things that we'd like to do. So in 2021, when it started being part of the e-banks, the e-banks group, which is one of the largest payment providers, we started understanding more about processing API world. So it was a universe or a market that e-banks knew very well, and we started to understand how we would manage to go into this market and help the companies with APIs in this processing world and exchange. So Remessa knew a lot the individuals, small and medium-sized company, and then we went to seek to know what was there beyond this, what the market could offer us within this universe. And then we found an interesting scenario where we had huge companies that were coming into Brazil and wanting to expand their business abroad. And to make all this feasible, exchange became necessary for their business. For this to happen, we needed something that would be advantageous for these companies. Today, there are tools or ways that this company can access this exchange
vezes,
market.
isso
But
acontece de
many
uma forma
times this
assíncrona,
happens
ou
in an
seja, essa
asynchronous
empresa ela
mode.
acaba não
This
tendo uma
company does
previsibilidade com
not have a
relação ali aos valores.
foreseeability with
Isso
regard
acaba
to
colocando
the
ali em
sums or
risco
the values, and
tanto,
this
né, a
puts
tesouraria,
at
risco
risk the
operacional
treasury,
e até
operational
comprometendo
risks,
ali
and
a capacidade
even
financeira que essa empresa tem.
compromising the
Então,
financial
muitas vezes,
capacity
inviabilizando
of
ali uma
such company.
expansão que ela
So
quer fazer, né,
making an
trazendo
expansion
ali novos
sometimes
produtos para o portfólio dela.
unfeasible in this
Então, o
company's
que que essas
portfolio.
empresas elas
So what do
precisavam
these
naquele
companies
momento, né?
needed at that moment?
A gente tinha então
Well,
um mercado
there
que
was a
estava
market
carente
that
de uma solução,
needed a
principalmente
solution
tecnológica,
mainly regarding
né? Porque
technology,
justamente para a gente
because
conseguir
for us
sanar
to
as dores que a gente tinha
solve their
encontrado com
pain
relação à
points,
previsibilidade,
like
o risco
foreseeability,
operacional.
operational risks,
E a remessa já
and
vinha ali, né,
Remessa
de alguns anos,
had
não
experience in
só
a
com
number of
essa
years,
solução
not only
tecnológica, né?
with
Então, a
this
gente está falando
tech
desde
solution, we're
2016,
talking about
viemos
since
construindo ali
2016,
toda a
we
nossa
have been
infraestrutura
building
para atender
our
o mercado de
infrastructure to
câmbio, com as
serve the
regulamentações.
exchange
Então, a
market
gente já
and the
tinha isso,
regulations.
a gente tinha um
We already
mercado
had this
ali
in place.
carente.
There was a
E
market
dentro
that
de casa, a gente
was
contava ali com
needing
pessoas muito
this, and
experientes
we had
quando a gente
people
fala de
that were
câmbio.
very
Isso é tanto na área de
experienced in
negócios, por
exchange,
exemplo,
in
na
the
área de
area
produtos,
of product and
operações, né?
business
Então,
operations and
todo
so on.
mundo ali
So everybody
conhecia
there
quando a gente
knew
falava de câmbio.
when we talked about exchange.
E foi aí
So
que, em
then
2021,
in
nasceram ali
2021,
as nossas APIs de
our
câmbio, né? Então, hoje a
exchange
gente está falando de
API
três produtos
was
ali que a gente
born.
tem para
We're talking
oferecer,
about three different
mas muito
products
em linha com
that we
isso,
have to
de
offer, and very
pegar
much
toda essa
in line
infraestrutura que a
of
Remessa
taking
Online já
all the
tinha, né,
structure that
construído ao
Hermes
longo
Online
desses
had built
anos
throughout
e
these years
disponibilizar para que
and
essas
made it
empresas
making it
conseguissem
available for the companies
realizar ali os
to
processos dela.
do their
Então, a gente está falando,
processes.
por exemplo, do
So
nosso
we're
produto
talking
Corporate
about
API,
our
né, que é um
corporate
produto
API
B2B,
products, the
voltado para as
B2B
empresas
product
que
for
estão aqui no
companies that
Brasil
are
e
here in Brazil,
precisam
and they
realizar ali
need
seus
to
processos,
do
seus
their
pagamentos
payments and processes
internacionais.
internationally
Já o nosso
wise.
produto ali, Open Payments,
On
que
the
também é um
open
produto
payments, our
B2C, ele é
product,
o
which
contrário,
is
né?
a
Então, são para empresas que
B2B,
estão lá
it's the
fora
opposite
e
for
querem
companies
usar o
abroad
Brasil
that want
para
to
fazer os
come to
pagamentos
Brazil
aqui
to do
internamente.
payments here in
E o
Brazil.
FX as a Service,
Therefore,
que
the
é um produto
FX
onde a
as a
gente
service, it's a
oferece as
product where we
APIs
offer the
para que a
APIs
empresa não
for the
forneça um
company
câmbio
to
para os seus
supply the
clientes.
exchange rate
Então,
for
aqui, por
their
exemplo, a gente está
clients.
falando de
Example, we are
corretoras,
talking about
bancos,
brokerage
quem tem
companies,
ali um cliente
banks, where
final
they
com
have
essa
an end
necessidade de
client with
câmbio,
this
tá?
need for
Então, aqui,
exchange
de
rate
novo, a
services.
gente parte
So we
desse
stress, we
princípio
start
de
with this
usar
principle of
tudo aquilo que
using
a Remessa
everything
Online
that
já tinha
Hermes Online
construído
had
para
already
fornecer para
built
essas empresas,
to supply
porque
to these
muitas vezes
companies,
o
because
câmbio
many
ele não é
times the
core
exchange
da
is not the
empresa, mas
core
ele
of the
faz
company, but
parte ali
it's
de que o
part
negócio aconteça.
for business to happen.
E aí, quando a gente
And
fala
when
desses
we
nossos
talk
produtos, né,
about
que
our
começaram
products
ali em
that started
2021,
in
a gente tem
2021,
números que
we
são
have
muito
figures which are
interessantes. Nesse
quite
temos ali décimos.
interesting and
Aí eu já vou contar um pouquinho
substantial
por
for
quê.
us, and I will tell
Hoje a
you
gente
why.
conta com mais de 20
Today, we
parceiros
have
que
more
estão
than 20
integrados,
partners
utilizando os nossos
integrated
produtos
using
e
our
expandindo os seus
products and
negócios.
expanding their
Com mais de
businesses,
800 milhões de
with
reais
more than
transacionados
800
e
million
acessando aí
reais
diversos
transaction
países, né?
accessing
Como eu
different
falei,
countries.
são
As
números que
said, these
são
are
muito
figures that are
expressivos e
quite
relevantes para a
substantial and
gente, né?
relevant for us.
E por que isso?
And why I say
Como eu
this?
falei, o
As
que a
said,
Remessa Online
what
vinha
Hermes
construindo aí
Online
desde
was building
2016
since
era toda
2016
uma
was all a
capacidade, tanto de
capacity,
produto quanto
both
das
by
outras
products
áreas,
and other
de
areas,
falar e
to talk
direcionar
and
ali o seu
guide
conteúdo,
your
o seu
content,
produto
your
direto para o
product
cliente final,
directly
para a
to the
pessoa
end
física.
client, the
E
individual.
agora a gente
And now
passa a ter
we have
produtos aonde a
products
gente, né, um
where
produto
open,
B2B,
because it's a
na qual a gente
B2B
precisa
product, where
comunicar
we
as
have to
empresas
communicate
e
companies
mostrar para
and
elas como a gente
show
consegue
them how
ajudá-las com
we
os nossos
can help
planos.
them with our
E
products.
aqui tem um ponto
And
também
here there's an
interessante
interesting
que
fact
a gente
which
precisava
we
também
needed
mostrar para o
also to
mercado
show the
que a Remessa
market
Online
that
ela não era
Remessa
mais
Online
só
was
as
no longer
plataformas que
just
já
the
existiam,
platforms
mas
that
ela estava
existed,
agora nesse
but
universo de APIs de
were
câmbio.
again we were now
E
in
um
this
dos pontos que a gente
universe
começou ali a
of
atacar para
exchange.
começar a
And one
resolver
of
esses
the
problemas
points we started
foi
to tackle to
justamente
solve this
começar a
problem or
educar o
problems
mercado,
was
educar as
starting to
empresas ali
educate
nesse
market
nicho que
companies
envolve o
about this
câmbio,
niche,
o que é a
including
API,
exchange,
como a gente
as what's API, how can we generate value for these companies through API. So we, in fact, can create this link and show ourselves relevant within the market. Additional point very important and for us to understand ourselves towards the market was the reorganization in house we had to do. Repeating, the Remessa, no new marketing operations, transactions, and products, talking directly with the end client. Now we change to a context of an enterprise product. So we had to structure a business unit of products and processing in order that we could have this mindset of how we talk with this guy, how to offer solutions, how marketing will communicate and especially use the tools that this public uses. No use, depending on the product and company, to place an advertisement or publish something in a place no one will consume it. So we also had to go through this in-house reorganization in order that we could pass through and place to the market who was a mess online on the universe of API exchange remit. We'll talk about API and technology, how we structure ourselves in order to organize and reaching the exchange API. So the product, one of our main concerns was how could we show companies how the APIs function and the value they would have for the client's business. Because one thing is to talk within tech and products, a different one is convincing executives of companies that they must use our APIs to make their own business feasible. So, with this in mind, we structured our solution engineer area responsible for two main topics. The first one was rendering support as to the sales area in this explanation onboarding in order to make tangible for these companies what are our APIs. And this area also is responsible for the follow-up the company and development team during the phase of integration test until the go live. Together with all this, additionally, the other concern we had and brought in-house was dealing with our documents as part of the product. So developer there accessing our documents to do the integration, it's a client and persona. So it's important to be able to talk with them and communicate in the right way. So currently our documents, they are part of our product team. It's part for us to understand and pass through information in the right way. Together with all this, we had other materials to render support, business area, marketing to go line a campaign. And a point I would like to stress, it's also following the line of looking developers as clients, where our approval environment, sandbox, and simulated scenarios. So this was also with this eye looking at developers and see them as clients, scaling for their needs, and we placed in our sandbox environment all a simulation of several scenarios that happen within our APIs. With this, we have forecastability for development team to understand the paths they will need to implement on their side. So these were points that looking doing the implementation based on the needs of the clients our persona had, and we had a very positive feedback how this was the reason for speed up the implementation on the side of the company. And now, within our processes, we have a point. Even after the go live of our partners, we keep on keeping the relationship and contact with them. Because many times these are companies that are expanding their businesses. The more we can be closer, we will have help this company to understand their business, expand where they need. Currently, we have partners that use more than one of our products, and it was the outcome of this development, understanding, developing jointly, and helping this client. And now, talking a bit more what's behind and keeping our products standing up. When we set up our exchange APIs, recalling online remittance had an infrastructure set up catering for platforms. So we needed to set up our exchange public APIs. So the main concern we had was availability. So we don't know when, how, and where these partners will be while using our APIs. So we must keep these products standing up. And in addition to this, of course, we must keep it standing. But let's say if something might happen and the services are down, how fast we will be on and load our services. So, with this line of thought, we started to develop our products using both RBC and Kubernetes. So gRPC and Kubernetes. So this issue of availability, scalability, because I stress, we supply companies and we don't know how they truly are going to use our APIs. So we must keep this on running and working for all. And of course, when we call code fair, talk about safety. So we could not place to the world externally the Remessa online of service without a guarantee of safety and being sure that everything would work properly. And now, a cool point also that came from the engineering team, our layer of exchange APIs, we have several services built and each one has its own needs. That's why we use different databases in order to cater the best way possible and also in a way that makes sense. As said, our documents are part of our product that we use today because in order to be able to have the integration swag and being faster and easier information so we can have our publications of launching and end points. And now, when we look all this tech set up by our engineering team and see a chart like this one, we can provide safety to sales team, marketing teams, because we guarantee on the side of product all issues regarding scalability, all the functioning of our services so we could be aggressive regarding communication sales once the remittance is joining and entering, showing itself. The Remessa is showing itself within the market of APIs for exchange. Looking back our history in-house organization and the way we have positioned ourselves towards the market, what we chose for our architecture in our product. Currently, we have a product that it's easy to integrate as companies that we give very positive feedback because they can reach their target, carry out their dreams, and this makes again Remessa to understand what it's truly making for the market and how much this makes sense for us. So This is the new path that Remessa Online has accomplished, entering this universe of exchange and helping companies to carry out their dreams and going through all the technology that Remessa Online has to offer. That's it. I hope I did not take too much of your time. If you want to talk with me and understand further about our API products, how we develop them, I will be open and very pleased. Thank you.
Muito bom.
Very, very
Thaís,
good.
obrigada.
Thais,
Excelente
thank you
conteúdo.
very much.
Vou aproveitar
Excellent
aqui uns
content. I
minutinhos
will
finais para
use the
fazer uma
final
pergunta, tá
minutes
bom?
to pose your
Do
question.
Felipe.
By
Já temos
Felipe, we
padrões de
also
câmbio de
have
dinheiro físico
exchange
para digital,
standards
Felipe?
of money from
Para o real digital, você
physical
queria usar esses
to
padrões?
digital. Crypto, we will follow the same standards for the digital. Today, we are the market is going according to existing regulations. Very important for us to be careful with has happened in order to follow with truly Bacen, the central bank sets forth regarding regulation. The regulation of crypto, we had an advancement regarding the exchange landmark, but it's still walking short steps for us to have truly this integration. So when we talk about our APIs, we think being able to connect all both worlds, much due to what we see companies already have this set up, but we today follow what has been regulated within the bank.
Joia, perfeito. E só
Thank you.
mais uma.
Perfect. One more
O uso
question.
de
The
GRPC,
use
ele
of
é aceito por
gRPC is well
clientes?
accepted by clients.
Hoje,
Well,
o gRPC é usado
gRPC is
internamente,
used
né?
in-house
Justamente para a gente conseguir
for us to be able to organize and orchestrate all requests made between the services. Externally, we use WTP2, which has a very good integration with gRPC. Development teams, when it was suggested the chain, they loved it because it's something being new, so we wanted to test and learn more. So it was very well accepted by our engineering team in-house. Perfect. That's it. Thank you very much, Thais.